I'd like to share with you something nice from this week's Parsha, Shmois, from the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Yitzchok Zatzal. In this week's Parsha, we have all about the hardships of the Yidden in Mitzrayim, as we know. And then it says, the last Posuk of the Aliyah, the Shlishi. So it says, וירא אלקים es bnei Israel. Hashem saw what's going on by the Yidden. וידע אלקים. And Hashem took notice. Then it says, this finishes Shlishi. Then it starts off with a new part, that Moshe was a shepherd by Israel, and as he was going, as is known, he saw Hashem, the whole story with the burning bush. And then Hashem told him to take the Yidden out. But these actual words, that Moshe was the shepherd of his father-in-law, Yisro, in Kohen Midyan, that words alone doesn't have a real connection to the previous Aliyah. But Yed Elekim, God took notice. It was a introduction to what will be later with the burning of the bush. So Mefarshim asks, why does it say, Moshe hoya roya tzoyin? And Moshe was a shepherd. This and is not a continuation of before. You finished up Shlishi, that Hashem took notice about the Yidden, and Hashem prepared to take out the Yidden from Golos through Moshe Rabbeinu. But and Moshe was a shepherd. What's the and? What's the hisofa? What's the vov? Seems like a continuation with the previous pasuk. There's two aliyahs. Explains Rabbi Yitzchok. Based on what says in Chassidus, what was the whole Golus? What is the real meaning of the exile of Paroi? And it's not just a history book that happened thousands of years ago, but it relates to us today. Toides Chaim. And he says in these words that Vayed Elekim, Hashem took notice, and Moshe hoya roya, and Moshe was the shepherd. In these 5 words, it tells you what was the true exile of Mitzrayim and Paroi, and how the Geula will be. What's the redemption? Now the Rebbe brings down in Torah Oir from the Arizal that the letters and the word Paroi, Pei, Reish, Ayin, Hey, if you change around those letters, it comes to the word Ho-Oy-Ref, which means the neck, the back of the neck, the stubbornness, where the Yidden are called Amkshe Yoiref, a stubborn nation, hard neck, stiff neck. So it explains the Chassidus like this, the Rebbe says in Torah. A person has a head, and over there he has what's called moichin. A person understands, he has chokhmah, he has wisdom, he has understanding, bina of Hashem. Then comes the head, and afterwards you have the neck. The neck connects you to the body, which starts off with your chest, your heart, which is your feelings, your emotion. A person is supposed to have love of Hashem and fear of Hashem, ahav of Yi'ra. So it explains in Chassidus that if you look in the nature of a person, he has his head, the neck, the little neck connects his head with his rest of his body. But the neck shrinks in. It's called the tzimtzum. It shrinks. And our Rebbe says, you know what happens many times? A person learns and he understands. But then the whole idea is we should take what you understand and you have to internalize it. You have to bond with it. It has to become part of you. That is called the midah of das. Das means bonding, like the Rebbe says in the end of Perek Gimel of Tanya. Das means hiskashrus and hischabrus. Bonding, tying together, connecting to it, internalizing it, digesting it. It becomes part of you. So a person has chokhmah in his mind, and then you have to have that pchinas das, and that's the neck that connects, drawing it down into your heart. You have to feel it. When you understand something, also you feel it. That's when you really have ahava and yira, like that Rebbe says in Tanya. If it just stays in your mind, then it'll be what's called pchinas makif. It won't really, you'll know it. It stays up there, but it won't affect you in your day-to-day life. You have to really internalize it and bond with it, and that's das. And that is the klipa of ha'oirev, pare. Pare doesn't want what you learn in your mind, in your moichin, your chochmah bina. You should bring it down into your heart. So he attacks that pchinas das. And this is how the Rabbi Yitzchok explains the Posuk. Vayeda Elekim comes from the word das. Hashem said, you know what? I'm going to make sure that the Yidden, this is what they learn and understand, they should also feel it. And this will make that they'll do mitzvahs, because Ava love is the source of mitzvahs asay, like Dr. Rebbe said in Tani Peruk Dalet. And Yira is the backing and the source of those prohibitive 365 mitzvahs. So from your mind, you must draw it down. And this is what Hashem says, Vayeda Elekim, I'm going to bring the people, give the Yidden a gift of das. How? U'Moshe רועה. Moshe, who is the antithesis, he is the opposite. He is going to one who is going to redeem the Jewish people out of this golus of Paroi, and he is known as what's called Prince Das Elyoy. Moshe Beinu, he himself was always bonded with Hashem, and he will gift the nation. He's the shepherd, the Roya Neman, the shepherd of the Yidden, and he will make sure through him, he will work that the Yidden, this is what they understand, they will also have Prince Das, because he's the Roya Neman. He's the shepherd who gives, who nourishes the nation, that they should also have the Pnimius. They should feel what they learn, and they should have true Ava V'Yira. So now you understand the Posuk, says the Rebbe Yitzchok. The Vov connects it too, because this is exactly how the Geula came. Vayeda Elekim, Hashem says, I'm going to give you Das. You know how? And Moshe will be your shepherd, and that's a Yidden will have Das, and that's why the whole Golus is really because there wasn't no Das, there wasn't no knowledge. When you have the Das, the bonding and the understanding, that's the true redemption of a person. He goes out of his limitations, because when you feel and then you internalize it, then you truly have Ava V'Yira, and that brings to a person to observance of mitzvahs, and his relationship to come with Hashem flourishes the way it's supposed to be, and that's why it says the extra verb U'Moshe רועה.